This past week, right before the snowpocalypse hit, I made a run to the store and bought bananas. During all of that cold, we were not interested in fresh fruit, so my bananas got overripe. When they are overripe like this, it's the perfect time to make banana bread. Hi, thanks for joining me today on Susan's Cozy Kitchen as I make banana bread. 6 ingredients and you're ready. Obviously, the bananas, flour, sugar, eggs, some pecans because I am making banana nut bread, and butter. If you don't have self-rising flour, which is what I'm using today, in the description box below, I will have the amounts for the all-purpose flour, baking soda, baking powder, and salt that you'll add in. The first thing I do when I make banana bread is I mash my bananas. I like to have about 1 1/4 to 1 1/3 of bananas. So I have my measuring cup here so that I keep an eye on that and I know how much banana I've mashed. You want your bananas to be overripe because that's when they are the softest, the easiest to mash, and because they have ripened, they've got more natural sugar in them. They bake better, they taste better, you get a richer banana flavor to your bread. So don't use green bananas or just barely ripe bananas. You want them looking like this. You want the dark yellow with those dark brown spots on there. That's how you want your bananas to look. Don't worry about any dark spots on your bananas, like this has a couple of overripe spots. Does not matter. I mash these like crazy. Don't just partially mash them into oblivion. You want a mushy mess, okay? And there will be, some little particles of banana in there, but it's basically just a mushed up, mashy mess. Into my measuring cup now. And that one was not quite a 1/2 cup, so it's gonna take at least 3 of these bananas and maybe a 4th. I'll just keep going with this until I have 1 1/4 to 1 1/3 of bananas mashed. So 1 1/3 of mashed bananas, and now I'm going to start putting this together. And I'm just gonna be real with you for a second. Growing up, my mom said you could use your mixer for creaming the butter and sugar together, but that after that you needed to stir it together by hand. I'm older now, it's my kitchen, my rules, and I use my mixer. I have a 1/3 cup of softened butter, and then I have 2/3 cup of sugar. And now just going to turn this on to about medium, and I will mix everything together until it's kind of light and fluffy looking or creamy looking. So that's what it means when you see a recipe that says cream your butter and sugar together. It just means to mix them together until they're light and fluffy and creamy. Okay, the butter and sugar are creamed. Now I'm going to add 2 eggs and I'm going to mix this together, mixed on medium. All right. Most of the time when I do a video like this, I will start my mixer and then cut out all the mixing time, and then I'll show you when I turn it off. Today, I'm actually going to show you how long I mix the flour and the bananas into the batter. And I'm going to do that to show you that you really don't have to do it for very long at all to make the banana bread, because you don't want to overmix it. It'll be back and forth. I'll do flour first, then a little banana, a little flour, a little banana, a little flour, a little banana, because you want to do it a small amount at a time. Also, I forgot that I like to add a little bit of vanilla flavoring to my banana bread, so I'm going to do that now. I'll put in about a teaspoon. I don't want a lot, but I just want it in there for that depth of flavor that you wouldn't get if you didn't put it in there. I cook enough that I know about how much a teaspoon is without actually measuring it. And I'm going to go ahead and mix this in so that it's incorporated into the butter and sugar and eggs. Okay, I'm going to put in about 1/3 of my flour. And I'm not really worrying about measuring and making sure I get exactly 1/3 each time. Just sprinkling some in there. On low, just going to mix this in really slowly. Okay, there's the flour now. About 1/3 of the banana. Same thing, on low, and a quick mix. A 1/3 of the flour. More banana. The last bit of flour. And be really careful at this point because your flour, well, your batter is coming up to the top of the bowl, and if you start in the middle of the flour, you're going to end up with flour all over your kitchen. So start kind of over to the edge and then mix very carefully into the flour. Now the last of the banana, and I'm going to scrape this out using my rubber spatula to make sure I get all of the banana and all of that moisture. Okay, this makes a very thick batter. Okay, and on low again. This is the only time I actually use a spoon when I make my banana bread, and that's to mix in my pecans. I've got 3/4 of a cup of pecans that I just did a rough chop using my cutting board and a knife. I sprinkled that in, and I will reserve a little bit to sprinkle over the top just to make it pretty. So, stir this in. Nice thick batter. I have a loaf pan that I've buttered. You can prep your pan any way that you want, but I like to use butter. Pour your batter in there. And smooth it out. And now I just sprinkle the nuts that I had left over the top, just so that it's nice and pretty when it's baked. I'm preheating my air fryer to 325. I've got it set for about 43 minutes. If I was making this in a conventional oven, I would set it for 350 and I would cook it for about an hour. Remember, you have to take the recipe as a guideline and then adjust it to what your appliances do. So what may take my air fryer 40 minutes may take yours 38, or it could take 45. Same thing with a conventional oven. It may take less time, it may take more. Okay, it's at 325, so in that goes. Okay, it's been 43 minutes and it did take that entire time to finish cooking the banana bread. You pull it out. Look how beautiful that looks on top. I'm going to let it sit in the pan for about 5 minutes and let it start cooling. Then I'll take it out, put it on the rack, let it finish cooling, and then we'll slice it and try some. I just remembered that I forgot to tell you about it being an award-winning banana bread. When I was in 7th grade and I belonged to the 4-H club, and we had a baking contest that fall, and I won first place at my school for my banana bread. It's been many, many years ago. It's the only competition I've ever entered with my banana bread, but I took first place, so this is an award-winning banana bread recipe. So let's go ahead and turn this out. Give it a little shake. Now I'm just going to carefully flip it over. That looks scrumptious. I cannot wait to try some of this. Okay, time to do a taste test. I always like to cut a slice off the end to push up against so that it helps to maintain the moisture inside. So there's my little outside piece, and now for my inside piece. Oh wow. This looks amazing. It has a beautiful texture, a nice lovely crumb to it. Breaks apart nice and easy. And let's give it a little bite. It has a nice crust, so it's a little crunchy on the outside and nice and moist and perfect on the inside. Absolutely perfect. You get the wonderful flavor from the banana, a nice toasty, nutty flavor from the pecans that are in it. It's moist without being heavy. It's just a nice, light, delicate inside, and I can't stop eating it. Thanks for joining me today on Susan's Cozy Kitchen. If you enjoyed today's video, please be sure and give it a thumbs up. If you've not already, please do subscribe, and while you're there, hit the notification bell so that you find out every time I upload a new video to YouTube. Thanks for watching. God bless.